Adolf Hitler was the leader of the Nazis, and he was the founder of the Nazi movement. He had many followers that believed in what he preached, but there was a plethora of people that disagreed with the oppression he struck upon minorities. But out of them, there were a few that had the courage to take a stand. A large number of people that had the courage to stand up to the Nazis became members of resistant movements throughout Europe. On May 10, 1940, the Nazis invaded the Netherlands. One of the reasons why the Nazis took over the Netherlands easily is because the Netherlands is only 33,000 square kilometers, with a relatively small border and airspace. Also, it being small led to the Nazi police to efficiently take control of the area. The Nazi police in control meant that anyone who was Jewish wasn't safe. Life was very frightening for minorities. The Nazi police took control of the country, which made a lot of things difficult. In the Netherlands, some of the people who didn't support the Nazi invaders formed a Dutch resistance movement. Forging identification cards was one of the tools the resistors used. The identification card was like a passport the Nazis used so they could easily identify someone and be able to get all the necessary information. This included their birthday, religion, race, name, and profession. The Dutch resistance consisted of multiple organizations to work towards saving lives threatened by the Nazis. Organizations were made to hide children, as well as do false identification. The groups helped save around 300,000 Jewish lives. There were many Dutch people that resisted, but they were not always in an organized resistance. We talked to a historian at the U of M about this.
Resistance groups operated in great secrecy, so people didn't always know who was in and outside of the resistance movement. It was difficult to maintain trust between resistance members because they could be infiltrated, and you also didn't always have access to these groups or cells depending on where you lived and who you knew in your neighborhood. And it carried an extra element of danger. So someone might choose to individually resist, and most individual resistors in terms of hiding Jews was through personal connection. So you were more likely to hide a Jewish family or Jewish children within your home if you knew them personally. And that's how most resistance efforts operated, through personal knowledge or familial knowledge.
Dutch resistors took a stand by risking everything to save lives and keep generations of families alive. Two active individual resistors lived in Eindhoven, Netherlands during World War II. Their names were Molly and Jerry Van Heel. Not only did they fight for equality, they also fought for humanity. Molly and Jerry hid my grandmother, Elise Konjager, and her sister Judith during World War II. We interviewed Elise to learn more personal information.
I moved to Indonesia and came back just before the war started.
Okay.
And so I had never met before.
Yeah.
And when the war had started and things were getting very difficult for Jewish people, Molly came to our house and talked to my parents and said, "You have to do something, you have to go in hiding, and I'll be happy to take a few of your children." And my father said, "Oh, absolutely not. No, we are staying together as a family," because nobody had any idea what was going on. I mean, you couldn't even imagine what was going to happen. And so Molly went back home, and then she decided, I can't live with it like that. So she came back a second time, and she said, "If you don't want to go in hiding, that is your business, but you can't do it to your children. So give me 2 of your children." And so they decided that Judith and I would be going to her place to be there for the rest of the war year.
Molly and Jerry had a lot to deal with. Not only were they hiding 2 young Jewish children, they were also helping the community as much as possible. Even though they decided to resist individually, they still knew that they had the obligation to help as many people as possible because they were still members of the community. One complication that Molly and Jerry had to deal with quite a few times throughout the war were Nazis going door to door and trying to find a house and a place to stay. Molly and Jerry had to talk to the Nazi soldiers while hiding 2 young Jewish children and deal with them. We talked to Elise about how Molly and Jerry would deal with these situations.
What happened was Molly and Jerry lived in a 5-bedroom house. And there were only 2 people, Molly and Jerry. We were there not legally. And so they always wanted to take rooms for people who were stationed in, the German people who were stationed in Eindhoven. That was the town where we were. And so once in a while, some people would come and said, we need a room. And Molly would tell them that there was no room for them. And why not? Well, I have 2 girls here. They were bombed out of their house. That was, of course, a made-up story. They each need the room because they always fight, so they each need their own room. Then my parents come every weekend and they need a room. And then there is the little room there that's for the maid. She needs a room, so there is no space. That's what she would say to the people that came.
Molly and Jerry spent 4 years of their life with the thought that one wrong word or action could kill them, just to take a stand against something much larger than them. We talked to Elise to see why Molly and Jerry decided to resist individually and who helped them do this.
Because they didn't trust it. There were always people that were being arrested and they didn't feel it was safe because they always had people in the house. They not only had us in the house, but sometimes flyers that had been shot down came by and other people who needed a quick, safe haven would stay with them. So they felt that they should be as anonymous as possible. And they only trusted a few people, like for instance, Molly's brother, Johan, was very brave. He would break into the offices of the to steal blank identification cards, the book with the numbers of missing identification cards, ration coupons, anything that was needed to help people who were in hiding. There could be shot down American or British flyers that were rescued by the underground, and via other people they would end up at Molly and Jerry's house. Not very often, but it has happened on occasion. So they wanted to stay anonymous of the big underground organization, the resistance organization. But they did plenty of resistance. So to me, Johan and also Molly and Jerry, they are my heroes.